welcome back to the Casual Knitter. This is an episode that is super short, but hopefully very helpful to you. Today, I'm going to walk you through how you can undo some stitches where you notice that you made a mistake. So we're going to go over two different versions of, kind of undoing your work and doing it again. It's not, great, obviously, when you make a mistake and when you notice it. And, oftentimes I actually kind of skip it and say, you know what? It is what it is, but it kind of depends. If it's something that I can still fix within just a couple of rows or a couple of stitches, then I will go back. But if it's something that I notice like way past it, I'm not even going to worry about it. So I'm going to give you an example. This is a t-shirt that I made probably 2 years ago. And I can still see the mistakes, but it actually doesn't even bother me because I asked a couple of people and I was like, can you see them? And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. It looks great. So maybe you can tell. I hope you can see the whole thing. On this side, may not be as visible, but right here on this side, I have one right there. So I can just tell that it looks a little different. I don't know what I did there. And here's one too. So clearly I realized this, way down the road. And I just didn't decide, or I decided not to fix them. But today I do want to show you how you can fix that. And we're going to go over two different things. Number one is when you can notice that the mistake is happening in the same row that you're already in, which then you just go backwards, and I'll show you how to do that. And the other one is when you kind of notice that it's a couple rows down, or for some other reason you might have to undo your work. It happened to me with my sweater where the sleeve turned out really too tight, so I had to undo the entire sleeve again. And that's a great way to unravel without being all freaked out, because you're gonna have to kind of catch your stitches. So you're gonna basically do it without having to catch your stitches, and I'm gonna show you how to do that here in just a minute. Ready? Okay, so I am going to show you two different ways to undo a stitch or to undo multiple stitches. So what I'm going to show you first is on the right side, which is your stockinette side. So when you actually just knit a right stitch, how to undo it if you notice that you made a mistake. Okay, so let's say for some reason this is not the right stitch. You needed to do maybe a purl, okay? And you're like, oh no, let's go backwards, okay? So all you're doing is taking your needle, the left needle. So you take your left needle and put it into this loop right here that you literally just created, okay? Let me show you again. So when you do your knit stitch, you go into the left needle under your stitch, and then you grab the yarn and you pull it through, and then this is the little loop that you create right there, and then you let it go. So here's your loop. Now, in order to go backwards, all you do is take your left needle, put it back into the loop, and then let go, pull the yarn back through and go over, and you just undid this. Let's show you one more time. Sometimes you have to grab the yarn because this part obviously becomes longer, and then eventually you won't be able to hold the tension. So that's the only downside of this technique. Okay, so back into the loop that you created before, make it on the left needle securely, and then let go, and then put the yarn over, and you're done. Let me show this to you on the other side. So when you have a purl stitch, it's very similar. You just, what you need to do is kind of train your eye to be able to see where the loop is that you are supposed to grab. And that's all it is. So let's see, we're going to turn it around. Go to the back side, which has our purl stitches in it. And then I'm going to knit a couple and show you how that works. Okay. Okay, so let's say this is wrong and you were supposed to do a different stitch here. So you're doing the same thing. You're finding the loop that you just made. You just created this one right here. Is that visible? Sometimes it's hard for me to see. There. This one right here. Go in, and again, let go once it's securely on there. Take it out, and pull the yarn over. Showing you one more time. This is our purl stitch. If you don't know these stitches, you can go back to the first videos on this channel and just learn the basics. Okay, let's knit one and then I'll show you where the loop is created. So we pull this through, and before I let it go, you see the loop is right there. Okay, so that's the one. So here's our stitch, and we're like, oops, not right. We find that loop again, go in, and just do the motion backwards. And you see how long this became now? I have to rewrap it. Okay, so next up, I am going to show you how you can actually unravel a couple of rows in a very neat way, which is something I learned not too long ago, and it was such a game changer for me. Because if for some reason you notice that you either counted wrong or decreased wrong or increased wrong, or you see like a mistake down here, if there's anything wrong down here, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go backwards one by one like I just did, then the only other option really is to pull out your needle, right? And then pull on this string and undo row by row. When you have a small piece like this and relatively big loops, this is not as scary. When you have, you know, somewhere between 50 and 100 stitches that are coming off your needle, then that can be extremely scary, because now when you're done unraveling, you have to go ahead and pick them all back up like this. Okay. And it can be a little tricky because some of them can come out and then you actually have lost a stitch. So we don't want that. So I'm going to show you a trick for that. You're still going to pull the needle out, but before you start unraveling, you are going to go and find your right legs of each stitch in the row that you are going down to. So you want to unravel to this row, for example. You are going to hook into here, being the first leg, and then every other leg you are going to grab and put on your needle. Okay, let me try and see if I can make that easier to see for you. There. So you just literally skipping one. So you see there's one leg and there's the other one. So I'm skipping this one and I'm grabbing this next one. Skipping this one, grabbing the next one, skip, grab, skip, grab, and then that's it for this small piece. But you can see how it's easy to do this even for a longer piece without having to worry that anything is going to come undone. I pull it back this way, and now we can start unraveling right here. And you're just going to go until you make it to the row. And there you go. And look at this magic. You're there. And nothing fell off. Everything is on here straight. What is possible is that now you have your tail that you're working with on this end, but it's not a big deal. If you're using circular needles like me, you can just pull it through the other side, and then you just continue knitting and nothing happens. It takes no time. It is stress-free, and you know, you're only going down as many rows as you want. You're not losing any stitches. I think this is so brilliant, and I'm so excited that I learned this. So I had to teach it to you as well. So let me know what you think about this technique. Have you tried this before? I would love to hear it in the comments of the video. And I hope this was helpful to you guys. All right, guys, hopefully that was super helpful to you. I definitely use these often, for sure. But again, if you if you're like me and you're like, okay, well, the mistake is it's done. I'm not going to undo half a sweater because of one little stitch. Then that just is going to make your piece so much more individual and customized, in my opinion. So don't sweat it. Don't be too hard on yourself. In this knitting journey, especially in the beginning, I feel like it's important to just kind of roll with the punches, to, you know, try your best, but also give yourself a lot of grace, because it is a learning curve, and it's also, you know, it's an art, and we're not looking for any perfection. So I always just say, you know, do what you can, and if you can fix it, it's great, but if you can't, no big deal. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Try to keep it nice and short and sweet for you, and I'll catch you next week with another episode.